barking dogs and all sorts going on in mine. Hi.
Children.
Good afternoon. Yeah, dogs and children. So good afternoon. Welcome to my Facebook Live with the lovely Ruth Kudzi. So yeah, there will be interruptions by dogs and children, as is the working from home during a pandemic. It's always like that with me anyway. Everybody's used to it, so that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm going to get Ruth to introduce herself because she'll do it way better than me. But just to give you some context about this interview and why I really wanted to do this call with Ruth is, as you all know, I'm a coach and a therapist, and I get quite a lot of people that ask me, how do I become a recovery coach or a sober coach, that type of thing. And I always say, go and get yourself a qualification in counselling or coaching, then go and get yourself some experience of working within rehab or treatment services, get some specialist training, which you'll get if you go and work in rehab and treatment services, and then come back to me, get yourself a really good clinical supervisor, that type of stuff. So, well, I'll let Ruth introduce herself and it'll all become apparent as to why I want you to meet Ruth. So Ruth, welcome. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Thank you. So I'm Ruth Kudzi. I am an ICF MCC coach, which means I am the one of only 65 master coaches in the UK. It is a very specific qualification and accreditation, which takes years to get. I'm also a coach trainer, so I train people in full ICF, international coaching training programs. And I think that's a really important distinction, because actually, even in my Facebook group today, some people are saying things to me and I'm like, no, that's not true. You haven't got the right information. You're doing a course and you're telling me that you're going to become accredited, and actually you're not going to be ICF accredited at the end of that course, because you're going to have to do this and that. And they didn't even know. So we really wanted to build a full, comprehensive diploma level qualification that meant that people who came onto that qualification wouldn't then need to pay for mentor coaching or anything on top. They get it all included. Because for me, ethically as a provider, that it's a big investment, a coaching diploma. Ethically, that means that you've done it, you've ticked it, you've got it, and you don't have to worry about anything else. Because I do think that sometimes in the online world, you do something, you don't realize that it isn't what it originally seems. And of course, if we do our due diligence, we do realize that a little bit more.
Yeah, there's a minefield out there, isn't it? I know it is. And I know from, I think it's got worse actually, but that might just be my perception. I can remember looking years ago when I started out as, what do I do? What does it mean? I think it has got a bit worse. But so how did you end up doing that? Because that's not sort of where you started out, is it really?
So in a way, no. So I've been a coach for about 5 years, and I came to coaching from education. I used to be a senior leader and I used to coach people. And then I became professionally qualified, started my own coaching business. And because of my background in business, I didn't start as a business coach, but I moved towards being a business coach, and I'm still a business coach, business and mindset coach and mentor. However, my background is education. So I was a senior leader. I used to develop curriculums and training for at a national level. And I'll be honest. I'll just be really honest. Like, I looked at the landscape for coach training and I could see there was a massive gap. I could see there was a lot of reliance on things like the GROW model, which is great. I mean, Sir John Whitmore is amazing. He really started coaching. And that's a great framework for a beginner coach. But in my opinion, that isn't what a whole coaching diploma should be based on, because actually we want to look at neuroscience. I've got a degree and master's in psychology. And since I did my degree in the 90s, psychology has changed so much. Like, we know so much about the brain. And if we're helping people make lasting changes, we need to have that in coaching qualifications, in my opinion. So I developed coaching qualifications that included that.
Yeah, it's great that you've come from a teaching leadership background into that. It's a lovely synergy, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Yeah, everything kind of makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. And it's been so lovely to watch your journey and your passion for providing really good quality training. I love it. It's just brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is coaching? That's another question I get asked quite a lot. So, there's therapy, there's coaching, there's mentoring.
Okay. So coaching, it isn't about the coach. Like, the coach is the person that holds the space and allows you to come to your own decisions. So coaching is completely client focused. The client, it decides the focus of the session, and the coach holds them to account to that. Now, it may be that the focus of the session changes during the session, and the coach will check in with the client and see what's going on. But really powerful coaching looks at everything that is going on with the client. So if you're looking at like the extreme kind of relational or psychodynamic coaching, you do go really deep. You do look at thoughts and beliefs. You do look at energy and what you're picking up and transference of energy, but it's always done with a forward focus. Whereas if you're looking at therapy, it's backwards. So if you're looking at therapy, and I definitely think there is a place for therapy, then you're looking at what has happened in the past and making sense of that. If you're doing coaching, you're looking at how you can move forward. So that, I think that's the biggest difference. I do know that some therapists do both. Lucy Power, who's an amazing person who trains in my course, she's a therapeutic coach, so she would do both. And people need them at different stages in their lives. So if you have got psychological, if you're suffering from severe depression or anxiety, coaching is not an intervention that's going to help you with that. But if you want to work towards your goals, if you want to have a better relationship with yourself, if you want to feel more confident, those are the kinds of things that you can work with on coaching.
Yeah, I definitely do a little bit of both. It's more coaching though, which is really interesting, isn't it? When you think about, here she goes. When you think about welcome to movie. Most of what I do is teaching people about the here and now and in the future, but sometimes we do have to go back into the past to clear stuff to be able to move forward in the future. So I do a little bit of both, but mostly coaching. But yeah, that's a great explanation. I love that. Therapy past, coach forward. That's brilliant. Thank you. Okay, so there'll be lots of people listening who are thinking about doing some coach or counselling or therapeutic training, and I always recommend, so there'll be people listening to this that potentially want to be recovery coaches, sober coaches. There is, just for the record, there is nothing I recommend that's specific around the recovery sober coaching in the UK. There might be something that I don't know of, so I am happy to be shot down in flames. So I always recommend that you go and get a counselling qualification, or you get a coaching qualification or a therapeutic qualification, so you get that as your baseline. So what do people need to look out for when they're looking for good quality coaching training?
They need to make sure that let's be honest, that is accredited with a reputable body. And the reason why is because they look at the standards. For our course to get accredited, they listened not only to a number of sessions that our coaches did, but they looked at the feedback that we'd given them. They made sure that the feedback was the same. They looked at all of the curriculum materials. They made sure it made sense. So, having that level of accreditation is important, because it means that it's reached a certain standard, and it also means that there's a depth of training. So the big names, obviously, I'm on International Coaching Federation. That is the biggest name. The Association of Coaching, the EMCC, which is the European Mentoring and Coaching Council, and the Institute of Leadership and Management do courses, but that is more, your employer will be more likely to pay for those. So outside of your employment, Association of Coaching, International Coaching Federation, or EMCC, I'll be honest, there are lots of qualifications popping up that say that they're accredited, and they're accredited with bodies, and those, it doesn't mean anything. Organisations like you to be accredited. And this is the NHS. If you want to work with the NHS, they want you to be accredited, and they look at that list of people that I've just said.
Okay, that's good to know. ICF, AC, EMNC,
EMCC, and ILM. But that is more of an internal thing.
And actually, there are quite a lot of people that have got, because I did ILM as part of my leadership and management stuff, and I come across a lot of people who've got ILM level 5. Does it go up to 7? I don't know what
it goes up to 7, yeah. And that's,
yeah.
if you get the opportunity to get to, for your organisation to help you get like an ILM level 5, level 6, and especially if they're paying for it, take it.
Yeah.
100% take it. But you may want to then do accredited qualification with one of the big bodies, especially if that is what you want to do longer term.
Yeah, but it's good to know, isn't it, that ILM is sort of recognised, because there'll be a lot of people out there that've got their ILM level 5, 6, 7 and be like, oh, that's a good starting point. You can go and get a diploma with Ruth, and then you'll definitely be armed to the hilt, won't you?
Yes, you will. Yeah. And it's about doing your due diligence, like looking at the people who've done the diploma, speaking to them, making sure it is a big commitment and it is an expensive commitment. So making sure that it is the right commitment for you, and that that the trainers are people that you resonate with, that you get support. I mean, we give business building support on our accreditation as well. So it is making sure that that everything works for you, and that it is a good fit. It's not a decision that I say jump into. Speak to people who've done the course, look at the resources, look at the curriculum, make sure it's broad, make sure it excites you.
Yeah. And it's interesting, isn't it? Finding somebody that, it's also important to find somebody that you want to work with. The accreditation is really important. I totally agree. And looking at the content, but if you're going to, like you say, you're investing quite a lot of money, you're also investing quite a lot of time. You need to respect your teacher or want to learn from them at the very least. You don't necessarily have to like them, but you need to be like, I respect them, because you're going to be learning quite a lot from them and spending a bit of time for them. So that's quite important as well, isn't it?
Yes, it really is. It really is.
Okay, so tell us a bit more about your training and the content of your training. So when people are training with you, do they get the chance to actually work with people and that be supervised a little bit? Yeah.
So the way that we work is 100 hours of we say in person. It's all on Zoom, isn't it, nowadays?
That is in person now.
That is in person. So you get 100 hours of that, which is a mixture of theory, discussion, group work, and then coaching triads and coaching experience. When you do the coaching, which you do every week, you then get feedback, and you get feedback from your peers in accordance with the ICF competencies. I'm such a teacher. And then you get feedback from the group. Like last night we had a session, and I gave general feedback about the group, and then I called out some great practice that I'd seen, because we've got the idea that you're always learning. And then you also get 6 of your sessions listened to and get written feedback, so you can get feedback on those competencies and see where you are and what you can focus on to improve. We get you to develop your reflective practice. You get 10 hours of mentoring, and you also get support to build your business through my membership, which is included, and through business mentoring and coaching calls. So we kind of cover everything that you need. We do. We do. We don't have specific, so this means that you can be a coach. You could then go and specialise in being a parent coach or a life coach or whatever you wanted to do. But this is a skill set that you need, which means that you can be insured and all of those things. And you're seen as a professional, which I think is important for your clients. Yeah,
so it's that entry level, isn't it? It's your baseline, it's your fundamentals. It's going to give you everything you need. Yes, you'll be able to work with clients after that, but then if you want to specialize, you'll probably go on and do some further stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I love it. That's great. So just full disclosure, I haven't done Ruth's training course, but I love Ruth. She knows that. I love what she's about. We have very similar values and ethics when it comes to training and coach practice. So I don't think you've ever seen me recommend a coach training probably in the last 5 years. So this is a one-off, a first. So if you're interested in coach training, I highly recommend you check it out. I know that Ruth does a lot of sort of run up, don't you, so people can find out more. So if people want to find out more, what can they do?
they can come to an information session I'm running tomorrow night from 8 to 9 p.m. So they can just message me directly or Stephanie for the link. They can also have a look at our page. They can book in a call with me. Julie's doing it, so I'm excited too, Julie. So yeah, you can come to an information session and ask lots of questions there. Please let me know that you've come from Stephanie, or you can message me directly at ruth@ruthkudzi.com and say that you want to have a call with me. Again, mention Stephanie.
Brilliant. That's great. Thank you so much for your time today, Ruth. And I will share this everywhere. Yeah. Anybody's got any questions, just ask me, ask Ruth, and we will go from there.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Thank you.